Hey yo guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're checking out the new releases from OMNIUM GATHERUM, Bullet for My Valentine, and SARKE. So, a few new releases today. We checked out 3 of them. The ones I mentioned at the beginning of the video, so new releases from these bands. I was only able to listen to the new Bullet and the new OMNIUM GATHERUM. I did not check out SARKE. I've never heard of SARKE before, but TV Fish did check out SARKE, so let's start with that one. What did they sound like? How was it?
SARKE was quite interesting because going into it, I didn't know exactly what to expect. I kind of looked them up, saw they were black metal, thrash metal, so I thought, okay, that might be a cool mix. And what I got was if Bloody Hammers was a black metal band. Very riff heavy, very kind of hard rock sounding almost, but still has like the face of a black metal band. You could hear black metal influence out of these guys. And honestly, about the vocals, I did read about the band, and it said one of their influences was Motorhead. I could kind of hear a little bit of the Lemmy voice in this vocals, just a little bit.
Hear the inspiration.
I could hear a little bit of the inspiration in there.
Okay.
But yeah, there were some cool riffs. Overall, it was fine. I didn't really love it at all, but I still thought it was pretty neat. I thought there was a few cool moments too. So, like, there were a few bits that stood out. For me, highlight tracks include Beheading of the Circus Director and Imprisoned.
Okay. Yeah, so normally on days like this, like, I'll listen to the albums, I'll take notes for each album. Today, I decided not to take notes. I listened to Origin by OMNIUM GATHERUM and the self-titled Bullet for My Valentine each twice, and I decided just to kind of listen to them and just see how they each made me feel. And overall, they're very different albums, but overall my feeling for both of them was very similar, which is, this is decent, this is good, I can listen to this, but I'm not loving it. And I felt like both albums sounded kind of dated. So just to explain that a little bit, OMNIUM GATHERUM is a band that we kind of both just discovered. I found out they were going on tour with Allegiant, I think, and I'm like, who's this band? They're headlining it, so I looked them up, and they're kind of old school. They've been around since like the early 90s, I think, or maybe late 80s. So they're not new, and I mean, I guess I just never heard of them before. And then there's Bullet, who's, kind of a early millennium band, very popular, kind of, helped pioneer the whole metalcore kind of genre and everything, and spearheaded it for a while. I felt like I was listening to stuff from the 90s and early 2000s when I listened to these albums, which is what I mean by dated. Is that a bad thing? No, not really. If you're a fan of these bands. And I think that's important. So fans of these bands are probably going to listen to these albums and go, oh shit, it's more Bullet, awesome. Or it's more, OMNIUM GATHERUM, awesome. But guys like me that's not that versed in these bands is going to listen to these and go, it doesn't feel that good. I don't know. Not that I didn't hate it, but it didn't feel that good. So I don't know. I'm kind of tossing between which one I kind of liked more or less. If I had to choose right now, I'd probably say Bullet for My Valentine caught my attention a little more. It just had a little bit more energy. It was a little more, the guitaring on it was a little heavier. It just, just piqued my interest a bit more.
Well, Bullet for My Valentine was the first album I checked out today out of the 3 albums, and I thought, I kind of feel how you feel to a degree. The main kind of way I felt about it is that it's fine. I felt like it wasn't anything amazing. I could dig it, and there were some songs that were quite cool, but overall it felt a bit generic for my taste. I felt like, okay, this song here, I've kind of heard this kind of thing a lot from a lot of different bands. Like, it almost feels like it's filler, even though it's not really, of course, but it kind of just felt like, okay, the next song might be more interesting, and some of them really were. There were some songs that got me turning my head saying, oh, that's a cool song, and that's a cool moment. There was stuff there, but overall, I kind of felt like it was just very fine. Yeah. But still, I didn't dislike it. As for OMNIUM GATHERUM, I actually liked that album a lot more. I kind of felt that album was like, if you could call it perhaps a Monomarth plus. So you take the kind of melodic death metal or whatever that you kind of know from a Monomarth, but add more to it. Add more guitar solos that are crazier, arpeggios everywhere, kind of sound like progressive metal solos, or add more clean vocals, longer songs, like take everything of Monomarth and then add more onto it. Does it work? Yes. I enjoyed it overall. I was not expecting it to be the way that it was. However, it does get a little bit stagnant, kind of all things considered, and the fact that it ends with like an 8 or 9 minute song that doesn't really feel that memorable is a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, you made some good points there. A monomorph plus is a good way to put it, but you could also say it's a monomorph negative depending on how you look at it, because it definitely has a monomorph vibes. I definitely got that as well, but it felt like a monomorph without the energy, without the aggression, without the really memorable chunky riffs that monomorph is known for.
I did kind of feel that the beginning of the album went a little bit harder than the end. I felt like as it went, it kind of started to soften up a little bit, which wasn't the end of the world, but that was just an observation I had.
Yeah. I also felt that even though the songs are good, there's also some synth in there. Let's put that. There's some synth in there, which is a unique thing.
It was cool.
I felt like the songs were longer than they should be. Like, there's just not enough actual substance in the tracks to warrant them being as long as they were. And like you said, there's a song that's like 8 or 9 minutes. There's a couple that are around the 6 minute mark, 5 minute mark. For what they were, it felt like they were dragging. And that was a bit of a sour thing for me listening to it. And I was like, oh man, this would be so much better if like you cut out 2 minutes. Like it really, for me, it really would. But a lot of people like that kind of stuff. So, I mean, obviously there's a crowd for that type of stuff. So, I don't know. What are we listening to for the week? We got to choose one of these albums to listen to for the entire week. So, what do you think?
I guess between the two, I mean, you know, that's kind of the main two I'm looking kind of at is Omnium Gatherum and Bullet, right?
Yeah.
But I think considering Bullet's popularity, I think it might be most worth checking them out just because they're so well known. Everyone's going to be checking it out and give us our thoughts, right?
Yeah, I honestly think the Bullet for my Valentine album could possibly have the same kind of effect that Ice Nine Kills had, where we listened to it first and we kind of went, it's like kind of hokey and cheesy, and then a week later, 2 toe tags.
That's right.
Right? So Bullet for my Valentine, I feel like has that potential, and I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but there's potential.
Yeah, the fact that we already saw a similar scenario happen quite recently leads us to believe maybe it could happen again.
Yeah. So we're going to listen to Bullet for my Valentine, self-titled album, all week long, and we'll be back next week to give you guys our full and final review of that album, so be sure to come back then and check it out. But for now, leave a like on this video, comment down below, and let us know what your favorite release of the day so far was. And we know you're going to say Slipknot because they dropped a new song today, but out of these albums, anyways guys, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm VileSelf.
I'm TV Fish.
I'll see you guys in the next one.